Hey guys, so it is finally time for another plan with me video. So go ahead and grab your bullet journal or just have a refreshing drink and let's get planning. So for August I thought I would do a wave/ocean theme because it is the summer holidays and maybe some of you are going on a vacation, and so I thought it would get me in the right mood for summer and hopefully you too. Now at first I tried sort of a one-line illustration of a wave on my cover, but I didn't really like the way it turned out.
You suck!
So instead I thought I would take a different approach to what I usually do. And so I took some watercolor paper and secured the edges with some washi tape so that the paper stays nice and flat once it dries, because it does warp when you apply the water to it. And then I used a sort of a brush pen that has water stored in the back, so you can just squeeze out water as you go. I used a muted sort of purplish blue color, and it actually shimmers in the light, which you'll see later in the video. Now I got this as a gift, so unfortunately I don't know exactly where you can buy this, but I'll try to find something similar and I'll put a link in the description. So for that ocean wave effect I just put down a little bit of water all over the paper and then just went in with some horizontal stripes, so I made sure to make them a little bit irregular so that it would look a little more natural. Yeah, and then I let it dry until the paper went back to laying flat and removed the washi tape, which is always really satisfying to enjoy that washi tape porn. Okay, anyways, next I used a regular glue stick and just covered the edges of the paper and just stuck it onto the original cover page, and then removed the excess of paper around the edges with some scissors. I also decorated the top and the bottom edges with this like scalloped washi tape I got from Muji, but I ended up not liking the color combination, so you can just ignore that part if you don't like it because I did remove it at the end. Now for the title I just wrote Hello August and sketched it out with pencil first, and then went in with my pilot juice pen for the thinner lettering, and then the Tombow fudenosuke brush pen for the calligraphy lettering. I will link both of those in the description as well as the other materials I use in this video. Now for the other page, I wanted to do a quote page again, so I got some more watercolor paper and traced a circle around this pen jar thingy, and then used some more of that watercolor from before, and I made sure to leave an irregular edge around the inside of the circle because I didn't want it to look too perfect. Then I just let it dry and cut it out so that the raw edge was still visible, and then glued it into the middle of the page. And I found this quote that says, "Life's a beach, enjoy the waves," so I thought that was quite fitting. I just sketched it out with pencil again and then alternated between the pilot juice pen and the Tombow fudenosuke pen to make it look a little more interesting. And of course I had to add that same washi tape because I thought it looked a little bit like empty and sad. I tried something I have never tried before, which is a collage, and so I searched for some nice wave and ocean pics and then just printed out and cut out some different shapes, and then I just played around with the placement until I was happy and then glued them down with my glue stick again. To add a little something more and just tie it all together, I went in with my pilot juice pen again and just drew some small doodles around the edges of the collage, so just some little lines and dots and stuff like that. And for the cover page I decided to also add a mini calendar underneath the header. So I sketched it out with pencil first so that it would be nice and centered, which obviously it wasn't, but then I used my color juice pen again and just kind of corrected that. Next up, I did my monthly overview, and I just started with a very standard horizontal layout. So I just drew some horizontal lines with my Tombow brush pen and then wrote the days of the week on top and the dates on the lines. In case you're wondering, each box is 6 spaces wide and 5 spaces tall. And I didn't separate the boxes vertically because I don't really like that boxy look, but instead I just separated the horizontal lines of the brush pen with my collage pen again. And then I also added a thin border around the whole calendar with the thinner side of the Tombow brush pen. And then since there was some space on the left side, I used it as a sort of sidebar, so I added a section for my monthly goals, my expenses for each week of the month, and a notes and a task section. I tried again with that one-line illustration, but I just didn't like it again, so I just covered up with some more ocean pics, as you do in life, just cover up all your mistakes. No, I'm just kidding, but I really enjoyed the way it turned out at the end, so I'm glad I did that. I cut this longer piece in the middle so it would be easier to turn the page, and then glued it to the bottom of the page and cut off the excess. And then I used some of that excess I just cut off to decorate the top as well. So I used a small thinner strip on the right side. And I also wrote monthly overview in that same style of lettering with the thinner font and the hand lettering with my brush pen. And then I glued another smaller strip of that leftover ocean picture next to it. And again, I doodled some little lines and dots along the edges of the photos. Lastly, I went over the header with a Tombow brush pen in a muted purple blue, just to make the contrast of the black a little less harsh. Now I haven't done a habit tracker or a mood tracker in a while, just because I don't use them a lot, so instead I did a brain dump and a shopping list page to keep track of my spending habits. For the header, I cut out circles of another ocean picture and glued them to the top of the page and cut off like a third of the circle, as you can see. I used the Signo gel pen by Uniball to write on top of them, and the headers actually stood out better than I thought they would. So I was really happy with how they turned out, because that gel pen is really just the best one out there. And for the shopping list, I divided the page into wants and needs as well, because as we all know, we often spend too much money on what we don't actually need, and I just want to keep track of that. I also added a border around the whole page with the thinner side of the brush pen. And then took another strip of those ocean pictures I printed out and glued it to the bottom again. And I actually cut off the corners of the page on the bottom. I'm not sure why, but it's just kind of like the look of it, so I just went with it. And then lastly, I did my weekly spread, and I used a very simple horizontal layout with 2 rows of 4 boxes, so 7 boxes for the days, and then 1 box for notes at the end. These boxes are 12 spaces wide and 10 spaces tall, so that you really have a lot of space to write down everything you need. And again, I didn't divide them along the vertical lines, and instead just left 2 spaces in between each box, and added a black line along the bottom of the boxes with my palette juice pen again. The only box I did divide vertically on the left side was the notes section, just to kind of set it apart from the other weekdays. And then to decorate the pages, I again cut out some long stripes of ocean pictures and glued one along the bottom on the left and one on the top right. I also added a header. I wrote weekly overview in the same style of header as in my monthly overview, and then highlighted it again with that same color. And then last but not least, I added some more lines and dots around the pictures to just finish it off. So let's get into the final flip through. As you can see, I ended up replacing the washi tape on the cover page with some more stripes of ocean pictures, and in the sunlight you can see the shimmers in the watercolor I used. Next up, my monthly overview. I really enjoyed decorating all these pages with the pictures. It's something I haven't really tried before, but it was a lot of fun, and I especially like the way my brain dump and chopping this turned out. And then last but not least, my weekly spread, which I also really enjoy because it is a lot more simple and minimalistic than my usual spreads, but very useful at the same time. So I hope you enjoyed this plan with me video and got some inspiration, or at least some summer vibes from the spread, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!